This week on the Rental Report Review. Out of the ring, into the fire, in a fight to the finish. Undefeatable, 1993. A police psychologist suspects her former lover of serial murders on the Tokyo subway. Angel Dust, 1994. What one loves about life are the things that fade. That is so boomer. Heaven's Gate, 1980. In the seaside town of Boulogne, no one seems to be able to cope with their past, least of all Helena, an antique furniture saleswoman, her stepson Bernard, and her former lover Alphonse. Muriel, or The Time of Return, 1963. Every pleasure awaits you. The Young Like It Hot, 1983.
In this town, if you want justice, you have to take it.
This is not a good movie. But I do love it. I mean, I love the idea of it, the spirit. I just don't, I don't love the market conditions for which this film was conceived.
A street fighter searching for a man who murdered her sister.
Martial arts films are dance films. The fight sequences are the raison d'etre, the story, the characters, conflicts, locations are mere conveyances to get from one standoff to another. And a good fight sequence on film negative with 11-minute mags, likely an out-of-state lab, probably still cut on film, just to acquire the footage to then edit, can easily run up into, I don't know, half the budget? The very ability to capture could be a major limiting factor in the film's existence, much less its success. So as a filmmaker, knowing that, what do you do?
Big mistake.
How do you get asses in the seats and tapes in the decks? You make memorable, insane characters, stories, set pieces, costumes, locations.
Bitch! Before you ruin my mood!
Or you do some cool artsy shit with cinematography, editing, music, or you go with absurdly graphic violence or lean into the voyeuristic perversity of your audience and steam up the windows before you squash bodies against them. You get what I'm saying?
You've got a lot to learn about police work.
What this film gets right is that its talent clearly knows martial arts and stunt work. They know they need those over-the-top characters. What it doesn't quite get right is that the American system of filmmaking is not going to allow for the necessary fight sequences a film like this demands at any budget level, and ends up sitting in an uncanny valley between detective thriller and genre camp. I mean, really, it just needed to lean into something. I give Undefeatable 3 stars. By 93, this whole subgenre of contemporary non-period martial arts film is a good 5 years past its heyday. This is the same year as Last Action Hero, Demolition Man, Hot Shots Part 2, National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon, RoboCop 3. The death knell for American action cinema writ large was ringing loud and clear, and a good 30 before the cinematic and distribution revolutions of the digital era. Look, at least there was a way for this film to get made. At that time, there was a clear pipeline. Limited American release, sell it internationally as an American film, and reap the rewards on video. But it was dicey going. I'm happy that maniacs get to make their films like this, but if there was a combination of this talent with the tools of today, I mean, just to not even be limited by takes. Man. This hits quite a sweet spot for me.
あなたが犯人だとしてこの中の誰を殺す？
超能力か何かですか？
Every bit a product of the second turn of the century, third wave MTV generation. This pre-internet detective thriller through the psychological labyrinths of the late 20s brainwashing cults in booming lost 90s Japan, captured in stark, at times barely liminal, skip bleach, anxious terror vision. How could you not love this? It's a creepy, sexy, at times semi-languid, always tense, and calculated, off-vibey examination of the deep terror of love, of loving someone, of losing yourself in the love of someone. I love this era of late boomer cinema, still holding on to the formalism of the medium and genre, but pushing it to its boundaries while still trying to center the work in the real world. And for 1994, this is just ahead of the curve with Seven and Heat coming out the next year. This is a great synthesis of occultism of the era and the Japanese noir of the same era, and just before the industry veers into pioneering supernatural horror thrillers. If anything, it's perhaps a little too tame for its own good. It felt oddly restrained at times. I couldn't tell if or why it was vamping. Not that it was doing it a lot. Well, it did do it a lot, but most of the time it was vibing me the fuck out of my mind. I don't know, maybe there was just some greater rhythmic structure that I missed completely. I give Angel Dust 1994 4 stars. It's really good. I just thought there were a couple opportunities or more for brilliance that could have been unearthed if only explored a layer or two deeper, which is ironic. It sure took its sweet time elsewhere.
It has been called the most controversial motion picture of its time.
Even some of the most morally egregious pieces of shit can still be so gorgeous that they leave you enraptured. Heaven's Gate 1980 is proficiently acted, staged, scored, many technical and artistic achievements abound, but neoliberal fascist apologia is not quite my cup of tea. Self-flagellating or not. I am all for class-trading melodrama, but what's the saying? The purpose of a system is what it does? And what this system does is usher martyrs into the jaws of industry while casually lamenting from a private yacht. All without acknowledging the original sin of the original claim to this land. I honestly can't tell if all of that is intentional. I give Heaven's Gate 1980 3.5 stars. Part of me loves this movie in spite of its moral low ground. I mean, it's really just the most boomer movie. It's just 10 years too early. Maybe I'm just dumb. I could be dumb. I'm often dumb. I can also see why the studio panicked when it took 5 minutes for a guy to enter a room. He really does just lament from his boat, though. It's crazy.
N'attendez pas demain. Participez dès aujourd'hui à notre grand concours. L'avenir est à nous.
Hiroshima Mon Amour was a life-changing film for me. Continues to be. Personally, spiritually, artistically, professionally. It's one of the most profound examinations of bodies and time committed to any medium. One of my top 5, all time. It cemented Resnais as one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. And it was the only film of his I had ever seen. Last year at Marienbad, while it was absolutely hypnotic, it took a lot to take in on the home screen for me. Long story short, I was slightly worried, trepidatious, that I might have to work a bit to engage and decode. And with those Frenchies around this time, you gotta worry about the D word. Didacticism. What socio-political course am I about to sign up for? What Muriel, or The Time of Return, turned out to be, for the love of Christ, is a lyrical, playful, cacophonous, sly, romantic, tragic, and gutting dream.
Vous avez tout compris depuis le début, ce n'est pas mon oncle.
A dream approaching lucidity, but totally unable to alter or turn away from the psychic projections, as if you were not the dreamer, this nightmare actual reality. Resnais returns here to memory of love, trauma, atrocity, innocence. It flows through our minds, and we float with and against conflicting currents, never quite anywhere, quite any when. Yet the collective mass of time weighs on all things. That's what I love about Resnais. He doesn't dwell in any one layer, the political, the historical, cultural, material, metaphysical. He seems to be naturally animated by narratives that inherently traverse these layers, and he takes time to play, seriously play, in each strata.
Avec une sauce moutarde.
Tu peux raconter Muriel? Muriel, ça ne se raconte pas.
I give Muriel, or The Time of Return, 4.5 stars. Like Bergman, yet wholly unique, the levity and moments of lightness pulsing throughout made the film not only continually surprising, but ultimately cathartic. The niece, played by Nita Klein, is stupendous. She borders on breaking the illusion at times, almost trying to pull herself not only out of the situation, but out of the narrative itself, out of the film. So over the bourgeois meta-narrative of the West, well, until she confronts some true terror and the veil is briefly lifted.
Quand tu auras besoin de moi, fais-moi signe. Je quitterai tout pour toi.
Habituellement, n'est-ce pas, c'est à 25-30 ans qu'on commence à dire en parlant de l'âge qu'on a déjà.
Ah, Alphonse, c'est toi.
Look, I'm saying this is a good fucking movie, with depths unknown. I love the clash of studio lighting and exterior documentarian naturalism. I love how the apartment interiors are like interrogation rooms. The sometimes jarring music refusing to sync with the film with itself, the circular jog shuttle editing, the whole film, an endless loop of recalling recorded memory, looking for the section to cut but never quite able to find it. All right, let's see how long YouTube and Instagram let this go.
Gail Palmer presents some of the most beautiful talent ever assembled in her latest sextravaganza, The Young Like It Hot.
Is it worth it? Is it worth it to tempt the strikes? I mean, that in and of itself kind of lets me know it is. The Young Like It Hot is technically an American late pre-video pornographic film in that it shows full penetration and features expulsions of viscous matter in a sexual manner. But it's really erotica, really. And for me is a curiosity on at least 3 different levels.
I hope you'll all come and see me in some of the most exciting sex scenes ever filmed, along with my hot stars, Kay Parker,
Operator assistance, may I help you?
Rose Kimball, Lily Marlene,
I just can't seem to get those computers out of my head.
Callie Ames,
Operator assistance, may I help you?
and a host of others. I guarantee you'll be glad you came.
These are my levels. I don't care if you like my levels or agree with my levels. They're my levels. And there are even more levels in this. On one level, it's an exuberantly titillating fantasy sex farce that hits a sweet spot of just plausible enough for optimal erotic suspension of disbelief. On another level, I'm intrigued by the narrative conceit that technology is going to replace human workers, an anxiety well felt since the 1970s and that we still feel to this day in some perpetual assault on Precinct 13. The arguments in this film are strangely seductive. On another level still, this Blu-ray is a copy of an anthropological process and product in a cultural market, a gray market, but a market. In 1983, erotic narrative-based pornography is just getting its footing with some provisional legitimacy in the culture in the United States. In an inflection point where consumption went from the theater to the home, and a billion-dollar industry was born. And what does it mean that it's on the market again in 2024? Why do we like, the many of us who do, watching other people have sex? Maybe there's some speculation that could be made to those hunter-gatherers who tolerated and even enjoyed mating nearby were more likely to stick together and survive than those who didn't and kept their distance. Obviously, there's limits to this stuff both ways. Anyway, The Young Like It Hot is a fun 80s romp through working-class corporate America, not unlike a Gung Ho, which is 3 years after this, or a Slapshot, or... I'm really bad at this. What I'm saying is, it's your average, satisfying, high-concept 80s movie. Technological threat of disruption to the status quo. Working class unite to stave it off. But for how long? But with sex. And it's fun and funny and stupid and admirably sex-positive. For the most part.
Even the repairmen know that personalized service is of the utmost importance for happy customer relations.
I give The Young Like It Hot 3.5 stars.
The girls were to give me some of that personal attention. Maybe I could help.
Okay, 4 different levels. 4th level. I have a vague hypothesis that movies are dreams of a culture, and I mean literally. They function in much the same way. They transject the zeitgeist and at times provide staggering or resonant insight of some kind through temporal visual progress and juxtaposition. Maybe a video for another time. Working in an office is weird. Unique relationships emerge, and sometimes emotional and even, gasp, sexual relationships emerge. Movies are a way to explore these dynamics and search for insight. I'm not saying this movie is that, but it's definitely scratching a bit of an itch with workplace sexual dynamics, which we seem to be doing a good job these days just by completely repressing its representation, right?
Linda and I will do all of the work. Kay Parker is the resident expert on the technique of deep throat.
I mean, this one doesn't go too deep, pause, on account of it being a farce and all that, but it's pretty funny to see not all that much has changed. and capitalism will pretty much co-opt anything. Kay Parker is the matron of all matrons, but I wish maybe she wasn't so matronly. Maybe I mean motherly. Don't get me wrong, I'd love her motherly. Joey Silvera is a fucking hilarious himbo. Probably should have had a crossover career with Hollywood. First thing I've ever seen Hayape Shali in, well, all the way through. Enthralling.
Well, in the end, true love wins out after all.
Loved the location, sumptuous glow of the film stock and lighting. Vinegar Syndrome is doing the Lord's work and is really going out of their way to connect with the filmmakers. Now I know I gotta go watch more Bob Chinn.
And believe me, the pleasure will be all yours when you see all 9 of us in Gail Palmer's latest production, The Young Like It Hot. I'll be there, waiting to be of service to you.
This week, my weekly pick of the week is something from this shot straight up into my brain. I don't know, maybe vibes are enough, but this imperfect gem stuck with me from when I watched it like a month ago? Angel Dust. I'm talking about Angel Dust. Haunting. This week's bonus feature is Muriel or The Time of Return. All my Renee heads, my Haneke bros, my Oshima goons, my Brilliant posse, the avant-curious, you neo-Marxist artists, you geopolitical meme lords, my war boys. Give it a go. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow me on Instagram and X to see what movies I'm renting next, and pretty much everything is on my letterbox. I am going to go watch some more movies. I hope you do too. Very well.